This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
In Tasmania, sexual assault support groups have joined the nation in welcoming the historic apology. They say it's a significant step forward for survivors and will help to ensure the horrific levels of abuse never happen again.
A day to move forward. Tasmanians welcome a long-awaited apology.
Hearing the national apology will be difficult for survivors of child sexual assault, but it will also reassure them that our government and the country is behind them and that we're sorry for what's happened to them.
The Prime Minister saying sorry to victims of institutional child sexual abuse. Those on Tasmania's front line said the apology was an acknowledgement of the wrongs of the past.
Many people tell us directly that they feel like they lost their childhood as a result of this, and that really now they're in a position where there's so much pain and they're often socially disadvantaged because they've been brought up in institutions. Royal Commission hearings held in Tasmania found evidence of children abused in care across the state. Today, a state redress scheme is now underway, with survivors slowly seeking monetary compensation.
We're supporting survivors to access the scheme. It's been a little slow in the take-off, but we are slowly increasing the amount of people contacting us seeking support.
Since we've been delivering support services from when the Royal Commission was first announced, that we've seen around 250 Tasmanians over the last 4 or 5 years, and that's just in our organisation.
A special live screening of the apology was held for survivors in Hobart. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's Sexual Assault Support Service has today officially opened its new site in Hobart, offering a bigger and more accessible space for clients. The new town offices will help accommodate a growing list of referrals, offering a range of new counselling spaces. The organisation has seen a 24% increase in referrals every year for the last 5 years.
It's really important that clients feel a sense of welcoming, no judgment and no shame. And that's what we try and provide here, a sense of safety and a place where they can feel accepted and heard.
The service also provides important prevention programs in schools in an attempt to stamp out sexual violence. More than 100 jobs at Devonport's JBS abattoir are now in doubt following news the company will close the plant next month. The state government is hoping to find another operator to take over the meatworks, which employs around 15 full-time workers and 90 casual staff.
What we will be doing now over the next month is working with the industry to look at what options there may be to find a new third-party operator for this plant.
The government will hold talks with the company on Wednesday. The abattoir will cease operations on November 15. 65 schools across Tasmania will close early on Wednesday as teachers ramp up their protest for higher wages. Unions are threatening the largest industrial action in more than a decade, but the government is refusing to increase its offer of a 2% wage rise.
Closing their doors, 65 public schools to send children home early on Wednesday afternoon. Teachers, principals and support staff walking off the job, demanding better pay.
They do it reluctantly, but enough is enough. The line has been drawn and they have been participating in industrial bans, culminating on Wednesday, and there are further bans to come that will be significant.
The government has offered all public sector staff a 2% wage rise, but workers say it's not enough. Now, schools affected will start to close from 1:30 p.m.
Parents will understand what this is about. It's about smaller class sizes. It's about more time to teach. It's about more time for principals to be able to lead their schools. All of that will result in an improved educational outcome for all Tasmanian children.
Many parents will wonder what's going on Wednesday when their lives are disrupted and the lives of their children are disrupted when we're actually offering teachers a 6% wage rise over the next 3 years.
Teachers not the only ones taking action. Unions coming together for what they say are the biggest strikes in more than 10 years, accusing the government of cancelling the latest round of negotiation meetings.
There will be disruption to our schools, to our hospitals. Don't rely on being able to go to a Service Tasmania shop and make the payments that you normally make, or all the other wonderful services that you get from your public sector every single day.
Whether it's teachers in schools, whether it's cleaners in hospital, orderlies, nurses, public sector workers, ambulance, paramedics, fireys, we're all going to be there.
Information on school closures is on the Department of Education website. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
Equality Tasmania is calling on the state's political leaders to condemn homophobic graffiti just days after the LGBTI community celebrated the state's progress. The words were spray painted on a wall in Penguin. Equality Tasmania spokesperson Rodney Croom says the incident is a reminder that despite the state's progress, there are still people who harbour resentment towards the LGBTI community. An elderly man has suffered smoke inhalation following a unit fire in Trevallyn just before midday. Firefighters were quick to extinguish the blaze, which was contained to the kitchen. It's believed the fire was sparked by an unattended object on the stove.
I'd say he tried to put the fire out while he was in there. Each room has been filled up with smoke. As he didn't have any windows open, so he just tried to make his way to the back door.
I did see smoke. At first it was very minimal and you could barely see it, but then as the minutes progressed, the smoke actually started to darken and then we knew it was serious.
The incident has sparked a warning from the Tasmanian Fire Service, reminding people to check their smoke alarms. Tasmania Police Inspector Darren Hopkins remains in a serious but stable condition following a fiery plane crash yesterday near Hagley. The 51-year-old suffered severe burns when a fire broke out in the cockpit, causing him to make a forced landing. Police say Inspector Hopkins has shown positive signs of improvement overnight, but his recovery is expected to take some time. Anyone who witnessed the crash is urged to contact police. A Tasmanian quadriplegic man waiting nearly a year for a new wheelchair has spoken out against the government over what he says are unacceptable waiting times. It comes as the state's health woes faced another day of hearings at an upper house inquiry in Hobart.
In 2001, a racing accident saw Alan Stevenson become quadriplegic. The tragedy didn't deter him from his passion of fixing cars, but working in the garage has been a hard task. The 62-year-old has been waiting since November for a new wheelchair, and his patience has run out with the health service.
It's their job. Not ask them to jump through hoops. Just do the job you're paid to do, the job you're there for, and they're not doing that.
The new wheelchair is now on the way. That hasn't stopped Labor from taking a shot at the government.
It is not good enough that he has had to wait 12 months for something as basic as a new wheelchair.
The Disability Services Minister was today opening 5 new supported accommodation units in Devonport. She says TasEquip has been working through Mr Stevenson's case.
They have definitely not ignored this individual's needs. They want to be working with the individual to make sure he gets the wheelchair that best suits him.
Meanwhile, Michael Ferguson faced a grilling at an inquiry into the state's health system and pressure to release a KPMG report on hospital funding.
Was it highly critical? You say you wanted frank and fearless advice to come in. Would it be embarrassing to you or the government to have that detail unleashed?
It's not of that nature, but when I start to speak about it, then I'm breaching my own statement to you that it's internal to government.
The inquiry continues on Wednesday. Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
The Tasmanian branch of Engineers Australia is continuing its push for more women to take up the profession. In Tasmania, women make up just 8% of the engineering workforce, compared to 12% nationally. As part of an incentive program, a number of businesses across the state are offering $5,000 scholarships to female STEM students.
Engineering really is about providing solutions for communities and problem solving and a lot of creative thinking. It's not just all about maths and physics, it's really that creative flair is what engineering is all about.
The scholarships come in addition to the Engineers Australia deal with UTAS, which is designed to boost engineering's profile at home and abroad. Tasmanian shipbuilder Richardson Devine Marine has won the contract to build the first of 2 new ferries for the Bruny Island crossing. The company says it will increase staff numbers by 25% to fill the order, with the vessel scheduled to start service by December 2019.
Ferry operator SEALINK says the 45-metre-long aluminium ferry will cater for up to 40 cars, with the option of adding a second deck later to carry 8 more. It says Richardson Devine was the best choice to build it, beating bids from 5 other companies around Australia.
We know what we've got here in Tasmania. We wanted to build for Tasmanian people. We wanted to make sure jobs are in Tasmania, and that really did drive a lot of our thinking.
SEALINK has also purchased the MV Bowen as part of its $15 million investment, but is promising residents and holidaymakers a more comfortable and more frequent service soon. But the GM concedes infrastructure at the terminals is still outdated and will need improving.
The infrastructure hasn't been really looked at for a good number of years. It was designed and built for the 1980s. We're building vessels for the 2020s right at the moment, so it's time to start thinking about that infrastructure in the long run.
Richardson Devine Marine says it will now grow its workforce by 10, but is struggling to find tradespeople in a tight labour market.
We're in a crossroad of industries where the building industry, we're quite correlated in skills, so basically that's the problem of going really well.
The first ferry will be running by December next year, with a second to follow by 2021, a build the RDM boss already has his eyes on.
Words are being formulated. It's quite interesting because there's a gap and also they're different boats, so it will happen.
Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
It's an event Hobart motorsport fanatics circle on the calendar each year, and one that dates back more than 7 decades. But now the annual Domain Hill Climb is in danger of being shut down by the Hobart City Council, and organisers aren't happy.
A motorsport tradition dating back to the 1950s, and one well worth saving according to those who love it.
Been running it for a long time. We've never had any issues. We haven't had any complaints from residents. Trying to accommodate everyone. Got a lot of competitors who love it, support it. People who've been here since it started.
Each October, cars line a section of Hobart's Domain, racing for bragging rights up the iconic hill, with competitor numbers at record levels this year.
We think that it's actually a good thing because it's getting people off the streets and in a safe, closed environment to be able to enjoy their passion.
I don't think you see too many of these fellows hooning or anything like that because they've got rid of that at the weekend, so to speak.
But with the area flagged for redevelopment, organisers say they've been informed by the Hobart City Council that any future motorsport events on the Domain won't be given approval.
Sadly, despite the committee putting forward some amendments to suit our event continuing to run, one of them was the use of removable speed humps on this section of road. Unfortunately, the council decided against that.
Not even a noise issue, really. We have a hotel just over the other side of the Domain and we can't hear a thing.
It's not close to residences, so we're not disturbing them. And it's only once a year.
A petition in support of the event is now potentially the last option on the table in the hopes of changing Council's point of view. But if that fails, organisers say this could be the last time you'll hear engines revving on the hill.
All sorts of different ways that people really enjoy the Domain, and we think that we fit in with that.
Council says it will carefully consider any requests for a review into the decision. Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
Local artist Jen Duig has taken out the first prize overall in the Royal Hobart Show's art competition for her depiction of Australian novelist Robert Desai. Art on Show carries a prize pool of $10,000, and today's winner says she'll spend the winnings on a trip to Sydney.
He's a fabulous face to draw. I love his books. I've shared his some of his stories of his books with one particular eldest son of mine.
The Royal Hobart Show officially gets underway on Thursday. Tasmania has been chosen as the battleground for a 3-day tour to find the best motorbike in the country. Riders say the state's roads and picturesque scenery makes it the perfect place for the trail.
Roaring off of the Spirit and onto our roads, these motorcyclists have a big few days ahead of them, testing their tyres against the Tasmanian terrain.
It's our big road test for 3 days where we take away 9 of the finest bikes in Australia and test them on these beautiful Tasmanian roads.
It's the first time the trial will be held in Tasmania, and the riders say there's a lot they're looking out for to crown one of the bikes Bike of the Year.
We test them for handling and how good suspension is and how good the brakes are, how good the engine is, whether it's fit for purpose, so if it's a cruiser, does it live up to its capabilities.
The group says the state is a renowned mecca for motorcycle riders, particularly for its natural landscape.
It's the best place to test motorcycles to their full capacity, and obviously beautiful scenery as well, so it just makes for awesome footage.
And it seems our windy roads are also a major attraction.
Tight and twisty and that sort of stuff. I mean, motorcyclists love going around corners more than straight roads, and obviously Tasmania has that in abundance.
After 900 kilometres of wear and tear on Tassie roads, 3 of these bikes will be shortlisted, with the winner to be announced in Melbourne in November. It's hoped using Tassie for annual testing will become a regular thing.
Hopefully this will become very much an annual trip over, whether it's Bike of the Year or testing other motorcycles. Our aim is to certainly make Tasmania more of a testing base in years to come.
Judy Augustine, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian market has closed lower, giving up most of last week's gains in a single session. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 34.6 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 71.05 US cents and 80.05 Japanese yen.
Southern Football League President Madeleine Ogilvie has been announced as the new head of the Tasmanian Football Council. The former Labor MP will represent the SFL, NTFA and NWFL in the hopes of providing a united front for community football organisations across the state. Ms Ogilvie says her immediate focus as president will be locking in funding for the TFC's new community football hubs and working alongside the state government and the AFL to help improve community football participation. To cricket, and the Tasmanian Tigers will take a 13-man squad over to Perth for their upcoming Sheffield Shield clash with Western Australia, with batsman Charlie Wakeham added to the list. The rest of the squad remains unchanged, however, following the side's dominant 246-run win over Queensland.
Bowled really well together, and it's something we've been really working on developing with this group of bowlers here in Tasmania, is to hunt in a pack and do it together.
Griffith says he expects WA to come out firing following a disappointing start to their Shield campaign against Victoria.
WAC is one of those venues that when you bowl really well, it's a great place to bowl, but if you don't quite get it right, you can go the journey there. So we'll be working really hard today at training, and when we arrive to find what that length looks like for us.
The match begins on Thursday morning.
Good evening. Bushy Park, our top today with 25 degrees as some temperatures in the southwest reach between 5 and 10 above average. Hobart 23, Launceston 19, Burnie and Devonport 17. King Island had 24 degrees along with Strawn, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Ooze 23. Flinders Island 21 today, St Helens 20. Lyawini had 13 after scoring our low of -1. Patchy low-level cloud today, sitting under a thin band or two of high-level cloud as it swept through in those northwesterlies. That cloud stretches back over south-east and South Australia. A frontal cloud band is over the Bight with a cold pool of air behind it. Patchy cloud over southern WA and the eastern states. Tomorrow, a weakening front clears Tasmania in the morning with another to follow, introducing a westerly change. High pressure builds over the Bight, troughs of low pressure over the far north and down the east coast. The wind's mostly westerly at 15 to 25 knots, but up to 30 knots over the west and south. They should ease late afternoon and become more variable, swells to 4 metres. A strong wind warning is current from Cape Portland to St Helens Point and also from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. A small craft wind alert for the southwest lakes. Tuesday in Hobart, showers easing, 19 the top, 19 for Adventure Bay, a shower for Tarraleah and 12 degrees. Launceston, showers easing, 19 the top, 17 for Devonport and Bridport with a shower or two mainly in the morning. Burnie tomorrow, showers easing later, 16 the top, 15 for Strawn and Marrawar with showers to start the day in the west. And St Helens, a shower or two clearing, 20 the high, 20 also for Swansea and 17 for Whitemark. UV is a high 6, so slap on a broad-brimmed hat or seek some shade. On Wednesday, a possible morning shower over the west and far south, easing in the afternoon, snow to 800 metres. Showers over the west on Thursday, late morning. They'll move to the far south in the evening. And on Friday, showers over the west, south and Bass Strait Islands, but fine elsewhere. Partly cloudy in Perth, Sydney and Darwin tomorrow. A possible shower for Adelaide and Melbourne. Fine and sunny and 29 in Brisbane. Conditions still clear. Hobart 23 still, Launceston 17 at the moment, Devonport 14 degrees. Joe, yes, this is my birthday tie. I was going to wear my birthday suit, but I don't think anyone wants that.
No, we certainly don't. That's a blessing for all our viewers. You changed your mind on that one. Thank you, Merv. That's all from the team for now. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.